Go.
Okay. Thank you, everybody, for starting. Let me see, D'Angelo, we're gonna give it to which one of y'all pastors gonna open up for prayer? Close with
Okay. Let's bow our heads. Dear Lord, we thank you for this opportunity once again, dear Lord, to come together in fellowship. We know it is because of your grace and mercy that covered us as we traveled on these streets. We ask for your Holy Spirit to guide us, Lord, that we may make sound decisions that are giving you the glory and not ourselves the glory, Lord. We ask that your Spirit increases and our flesh decreases, that we may reach and teach your children about municipal government. These things we pray in the holy name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Reverend Dexter. Yeah, what we decided to do today, this is our I Am William Muhammad. And I'm one of the co-chairs of the committee to save Jefferson County. And what we're going to do today, this is our regular meeting time. We meet here on the second Saturday in every month. We've been doing a lot of work in the community, going out doing forums, and I had to give all credit to, not say nasty stuff, to our executive producer, Ms. Marcia Forrest, because she came to me some time ago. She came to me some time ago and said, we need to have these forums so that the people, the citizenry, that's her favorite word, can hear from these candidates. And I said, no, because niggas ain't gonna do nothing but lie. Excuse me, audience, the many white people have to be looking. But she backed up, but she kept on me, and then I came to the conclusion that you know, I shouldn't be so controlled. I'm trying to learn that at 73 years old. And so I said, okay, we can go and do it. She put a lot of work in this. We met for a whole month. We wore out one of our subcommittee members, Congressman he said, I had to spend some time with my wife. So what we did was we decided, and it's been such a beautiful experience because it's taken us to another level. But we decided that I was working on this agenda. We went through some changes with this, trying to do it with some of the pastors and the SELC. It was like a misunderstanding. But the idea just came to me from God that we shouldn't just be asking them questions. I want to present our agenda to them. I don't only want to take 10 or 15 minutes and say, this is our agenda, where do you stand? And then record them. That's how Jarvis came about. All of this was the Lord's doing. But that's how Jarvis came into this. Little did I know that we would reach a point to where we were very successful in doing it. But we had planned to do the last one, was it July the 31st at the City Club. Dexter is a member of the City Club, and he booked it a month in advance with everything. Then all of a sudden we got a call saying that it was a mix-up. They had to cancel it. And we started thinking, now there's a lot of forums being canceled now. Is this conspiracy, is this coincidence? And I've been saying I was going to look up the definition of coincidence. Maybe somebody can help me with that. But anyway, we did a news conference, and when we did, this thing is just really blown up. We moved to the FOP. I hope that ain't been a problem.
Oh, no, yeah, okay, no.
But it was full. When I went in there, I was shocked. There was no place to park, no place to sit. It was full. There was citizenry there. Because I kept telling Marcia, nobody gonna come out but the candidates, their family, and the people working for them. And that's what we basically had. And the word was getting around. I heard that people were saying that, yeah, they doing these forums all over town. Ain't nobody coming. But when we went to the FOP, man, it blew up. Blew up so, and then I'm gonna stop talking. It blew up so to the point that I got all kind of people calling me now. You know, wanting to do forums. I got white people calling me. want us to do a forum in their district. And so we had to thank everybody. We thank Miss Pat, my partner in crime for the Black Contractor Association, because Miss Pat and the black contractors have been behind this. They are a big part of our agenda. They are a big part of this coalition. The FOP, I'm so blessed, and it was first of the year. We had O'Quinn to come in to tell us how he got to be president of the council. And he didn't talk about that too much. He said he never asked anybody to nominate him or any of that. But he started talking about the situation with the police. So it was Sarah Beth, who we are missing.
She's coming.
Oh, she's coming. So y'all rub it off on Sarah Beth. Now got her doing CP time. But Sarah Beth said, I know the FOP.
That's right.
And said, we could get them to come over. So I'm thinking FOP was the policeman that was against Harrington, had the office over there on Green Springs. But I didn't know it was these beautiful black brothers.
Beautiful.
D'Angelo, Dexter, Butch, those guys, and they are brothers. They are part of this coalition. We all working together. Miss Pat and the black contractors, we all working together. We made up an agenda. Another person, Phyllis O. Jones, who was probably going to be our next council president in Fairfield. She was on the subcommittee. She worked very hard with Marcia and Congressman Hilliard, who is in Tunica for the black, the Congressional Black Caucus yearly conference they're having in Tunica. I talked to him this morning. And then Dexter, even though he is historically the first FOP black president, but he's also on the city employee retiree board. So that's a part of our agenda. So what we're going to do without any further ado is we want to go over the agenda. We asked people, but we never told them what we really meant by these things. So we want to take some of these things out and discuss the agenda. It's open to questions from the audience, what audience we have left, and even people who are on live stream would like to ask a question, we will answer. So, who do we start with? Where do we start? Well, I guess I got the mic. That's right here. Don't make that mistake again, the wrong person the mic. You know, we used to have an expression in the 80s, get that in off the mic. Okay, so since the first thing on our agenda is we want the disparity study implemented, we're going to turn it over to my good friend and mother of the black contractors. All the black contractors love and trust Miss Pat, and if she's helped all of them in some kind of way or another, and I just got to keep her working with us until we can get her daughter, who happens to be running for city council in Center Point, and I've been on her. I didn't know she was doing, but I've been on her. Come to our meetings because we need you, Miss Pat, talking about retiring. But we're gonna turn it over to Miss Pat Seeger.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
My name is Pat Seegers, and I am the president of the Black Contractors Association. We are a group of individuals that have been elected, have been forgotten, and now we are on the march so everybody will remember us. We plan to implement the disparity study. Now, when you hear the word disparity, you think about neglect. That is a true picture of the black contractors. We have been neglected. And when I say neglected, I'm talking about to gain economic development through the city of Birmingham and other surrounding cities. Keep in mind that the disparity study was conducted in Birmingham, Alabama, in the city of Birmingham. There were 2 studies done. One of the studies can be implemented, and so we're asking whoever is the mayor, the new mayor of Birmingham, to implement that study. That study was done in 2022, and usually the disparity study will last between 5 to 8 years. So giving it 5 years, then we still have until 2027 to put it, to use it. Now, what the disparity study is, once a disparity study is done, it tells the officials of that municipality that certain group of peoples have been discriminated against in receiving contracts for that particular city. The disparity study showed that black contractors are certified to do construction work in the city, at least 38% of us. But based upon the data collected by the investigators who did the study, it showed that only 8% of the contracts that was implemented through the city was given to black contractors. Now, I want to make this perfectly clear. When I talk about black contractors in the disparity study, I want to make it perfectly clear that we are certified. It's not that we are not certified, but we are certified. We are licensed with the state of Alabama, just like minority contractors. But the problem is that, I'm going to give you an example of my license. My licenses are unlimited. When you hear the word unlimited, that means that you can do any type of work. You can do any amount of work as far as the dollar figure is concerned. But you can't. You can't, even though your license says you can. You can't because you have to be bonded. That's where black contractors have problems with bonding. In order to bond a company, you have to have a certain amount of revenue. Gowdy Construction is a licensed general contractor through the state of Alabama that I own, and Gowdy Construction is a licensed contractor for home building that I own. However, Gowdy Construction do good to get at least $1 million worth of work for a year. The reason being is because of bonding. How can we compete equally with companies that have been in business for 50 to 100 years, and we do good as minorities and black contractors to have been in business for maybe 15, 20 years? There's no way the revenue can equal. Now, municipalities can make a difference by doing the disparity study. They only have to, they have a certified group of people that are licensed to do this. They only have to implement what they suggest be done. Birmingham has had 2. Neither one has been implemented. So when you implement what is suggested to be done, then black contractors, minority-owned contractors, women-owned businesses, minority-owned business can get into the cycle. All we are asking for is to let us get into the cycle. If the disparity study is passed, we can get in the cycle. We can get in the cycle because we have contractors that know what to do. We have demolition contractors, we have all types of contractors that are certified by the state of Alabama. But in order to get into the cycle, we need a good cash flow. That's what we need. But if the disparity study is implemented, they will break the contract down into smaller sizes. That would give us an opportunity to increase our revenue. Let me just say this, and then I'm going to end. In most instances, what they want us to do as black contractors, even though we are general contractors and the license said we can do general contractors work, what they want us to do is work upon the mostly your big time majority contractors as subcontractors. I refuse to do that. I refuse to do it. If I'm a general contractor, you're going to respect me as a general contractor. I'm not coming up under anybody. But that's what they want us to do. We do the work, but we don't get the recognition. Whoever is the general contractor get the recognition for the project. The subcontractors do not get the recognition for the project. Therefore, if I do $1 million worth of work upon the Brassfield Goree or any big time contractor, I don't get the credit for that. Brassfield Goree get that credit. Whoever is the general contractor get that credit. So you're defeating your purpose when you work upon the different major contracts. I know everybody have to earn a living, and I'm not crying against somebody doing that, because you have to earn a living. This is just my stance on it. I don't do it. But the disparity study needs to be implemented by the city of Birmingham. It needs to be, it should have been implemented 5 years ago, 10 years ago, because it was in place at the time. One other thing, that disparity study does not deal with opinions. It is based upon data, solid data. That means it is based upon facts. It's not any one opinion. It is based upon facts. And the cities, whoever do these disparity studies, they run for maybe $1 million up. Depending upon the size of the city, I don't know how much the city paid for its disparity study, but you can at least know that the city paid at least $1 million or more. And these are your dollars. These are taxpayers' dollars. They do the disparity study, and they let it sit on the desk, and they let it collect dust. But they spend your money to do it. And I should say, our money to do it. But we are pushing for the next mayor, the next city council in Birmingham, to implement the disparity study, and I'm going to end with that unless you have some questions for me. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question for you, Ms. Matt. I think the disparity, I think it was like $3 million they spent on the disparity study, but my question to you, Ms. Matt, is that what role do the council and the mayor, or can they play in black contractors being a steward contract in a town? I mean, because there's hundreds of millions of dollars of development going on in Birmingham. So is the mayor, how important can the mayor be involved in you all getting contract? Because the city put out a lot of money for it. I mean, it was Caraway. They spent at least, what, $8 million for the demolition, and 75% of Caraway is still there. So what I'm saying is that, why is it that you all wasn't involved, or is it at that discretion of the mayor, or is it somebody else that made the decision on what contract you would get for the cities involved?
Okay, that's a good question. Now, thank you for the question.
Yeah.
Basically, what happens in that process, they put out a bid. And when the bid is put out, you have an opportunity to bid on the project. But like I said earlier, it depends upon your bonding capacity. Now, what they will say is, this is how they deal with us. They'll say, okay, we got to follow the bid law. The bid law said they can't break up projects into sections, like smaller sections. But the disparity study tells them they can do that, because there is a disparity among certain group of people. So what you're talking about is that, number one, with any project that the city undertakes, the council approves the money. The mayor implements it. It's up to the mayor to implement that disparity study. It's up to the council to pass it. When the council pass that study, or say, we're gonna do this study, then it is the council's responsibility to make sure the mayor implement what they told them to implement. It's all of their responsibility to do it. But what they gonna tell the average person who do not know, they gonna say, well, we have to follow the bid law. Yes, you do have to follow the bid law, but that's why you have a disparity study. To break projects down, to make them easier for people that are minorities to get into the marketplace. Until they do that, we are still gonna be outside the marketplace, and other people are gonna take our tax dollars and put them somewhere else. They're not living here in Birmingham.
Wow.
Any other questions?
Yes. Ms. Pat, you mentioned about the disadvantage of working under a GC as a sub.
Yeah.
Do you have any other downsides of working as a subcontractor under the GCs that do not embrace or fully support the concept of empowering black companies to grow that you would like to bring to our attention?
Yes, thank you for that question. That's a good question also. We got some smart people in the audience today, boys and girls. That's a good question. Number one is the downsides to being a subcontractor is, number one is that you have to depend upon the general contractor to pay you. The owner do not pay you. The general contractor pay you. Now, if the general contractor is slack about paying you, they can run you out of business if you are a small business, because they'll pay you late, even though you're supposed to be paid in 30 days. Let me tell you how they play that game. You submit your invoice, and your invoice may be off by one thing. Then they tell you, okay, you submit your invoice again, you got another 30 days before you get paid. So by the time you get paid, if you're a small business, you're out of business. Because you have done the work, but it may be 60 or 90 days before you get paid. Another downside of it is that if you work as a sub under a sub, that means you are a sub under a subcontractor, then you don't even get the respect to talk to the GC. You have to get your money from the sub that works up under the general contractor. So if you are a small business, that's how they do it. I'm not gonna say that because they probably sue me. But anyway, if you are a small business and you are struggling to survive, you will be out of business quick. Because if you look at how many black contractors we have in the city of Birmingham, if you just look at how many black contractors we have in the city of Birmingham, they have declined sharply. It's just a few of us left. And we are holding on by a string.
Okay. I just want to say, we're gonna be all right without the mic. Can we just have a conversation, John?
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to say that Ms. Pat, what we have to do, you just keep the mic over there. What we have to do is the disparity study first was designed to show that there's a disparity. And I just want to make this point, that was because of a Supreme Court decision called Richmond versus Croson, to where in the city of Richmond, they told them you just cannot create a program to have set-asides or to help people without first showing that a disparity exists. So the study is necessary because that makes the situation judicable, meaning you could take it to court. You first got to show that a disparity exists, and then you got to implement a remedy. So the people who did the disparity study, if any of you all got this information at the bottom, it's in real little right. Instead, we got to just have a whole page of just this. These are the remedies they said that would correct the study, and that's what we're talking about. The city accepted the study, but then they're not implementing the remedies. We have to push to make sure they implement the remedies. Now, I just wanted to read this one thing. The last, little bit of right, we gotta make this bigger.
You want me to read it?
No, I got it, I got my glasses on.
Okay.
It said, the studies that were done were to bridge the gap and help black contractors gain access to public works projects. The studies were assembled from other large cities across the country to create a standard model for public work projects. The city of Birmingham has not followed up with the studies that were done. The taxpayer dollar is not being used as support to the intended project purpose. So, these are taxpayers' dollars. So, and I want to say this because a lot of us think, we had a candidate at the mayoral forum, he said, I don't know if we can do this anymore because, you know, they got this DEI. DEI is President Trump's shiggity. It ain't got nothing to do with the law. So you're going to tell us that we have to pay taxes, but we can't participate in the work that these taxes produce, then that's unconscionable. That's immoral. And so don't tell me nothing about what Trump is doing. He only got power over federal dollars. This is a city that's 70% us, run by us. We are over the city council. We are over other areas of the public, and yet we all pay taxes. None of us is excluded from that. So what we basically saying is we can't get to work, then don't tax us. Let us, stop taxing us. Let the people who get to work pay all the taxes. And the disparity is this. The study shows that 38%, almost 40% of the contractors in Jefferson County are black, or minority contractors. So the way it should work is these public dollars, they should be getting 38% is it 30-some% of the work should be going to them. As Ms. Pat said, they're only getting 8. Right. So that shows that there's a disparity in how tax dollars are being used. We ain't talking about nobody giving their private money to black contractors to get them to work, but we all paying taxes. So if 38% of the taxpayers in Jefferson County or Birmingham, in the metropolitan area, are black contractors, they should be getting 38% of the public work. And that's what we got to force the city to do. And as Tammy asked, the city council got a lot to do with it, because one of the things they suggested was, as part of the city's implementation of the disparity study report, each council member should host at least 2 community briefings to share the results of the disparity study along with what the city will undertake to address the elimination of barriers. So every council member, the study is suggesting they have at least 2 a year to say, this is what's happening in our district. This is how many contractors we have in our district, this is how much work they did, this is how much work was done. That's not happening. We did the study, they paid for it, but the implementation is what really counts. So this is the second study we have done. And as Ms. Pat said, those studies, they have a shelf life like food. You know, you leave food, and I do this all the time. Then my wife go out and get something to eat, and I can't eat but so much, I put it in the refrigerator, so I go back the next week on eat it, and it's spoiled. So I had to throw it away. That's what it is with these numbers. These numbers change. They are not judicable in court if they old numbers. So we got to do something within the period of time that we have. It's like they said, 5 to 7 years. That something, you got to implement a program. So the program implemented could be things that they suggested. So that's all I wanted to say on that note.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? And we want to let you know that if, to the screaming audience, if you have a question, if you submit, however you have to do that, that's above my pay grade. But you submit the questions to our media person, then he'll let us know. We'll answer your question. Was somebody gonna say something?
Yeah, as far as the disparity study goes, do we have the numbers here today to let everybody know, be aware of how big of a difference it is from each group, like the percentage of the minority and the majority? so people can be aware just how big of a difference it is.
Right, and then that's a good point. I don't know if we have the numbers today, but they are in the study.
Yeah.
The study is really, they did a report, I have a little, it's about 20-some pages, just a report. The study was huge because it cost millions of dollars. Taxpayer dollars, it's our money paid for the study. It's our money that's paying for the work that these people are doing, but yet we are denied access into it based on things they put in place like bonding, barriers, and the city can overcome that. But that's a good point, and we need to make note of that.
Now, if anyone wants to get that information, if anyone wants to get that information, they can just send it, call me. I don't want to give my telephone to too many people, but call me. I'm at 205-229-9864. This is Pat Seegers, 205-229-9864. And I can get your email address and I will email you the entire disparity study. And just like Mohammed was saying, it's a big study. It's a big study. And it's based upon collected data, not on opinion, on collected data. So if you want it, just give me a call and send me, text me your email address, but make sure it's legible, because you know one little thing will knock it out. So text me your email address and I will send you the entire study.
Right, and that's a good point that you made. That's something we got to do, is distribute this information out to the people. We need to do an audit. And if we had our council members involved, if they were serving us, then they would have a recommended 2 meetings a year to give reports to their people. They could come in and give a report and probably have some biscuits and some chicken to get our people to come. And they can afford to pay for it and then report to them, this how much money has been spent in our district, this who got who got the contracts, and this how much, because I can tell you, the black contractors, that's us, that's Ms. Patty is the mother of it, and Mr. Smith is a long-time black contractor. But we did, the greatest thing that contractors did was we took the BJCC to court because, I have to say, Clinton Woods had got it put into the funding agreement for the amphitheater, that if they could not hit their 30% goal, this kind of stuff that a disparity study will allow you to do. We got a disparity in the city. 30-some% of the people ain't getting 30% of the work. That's called discrimination. And he said that if the BJCC saw that black contractors who are like 38% not getting their share of the work or did on their project, then he told them to go get with the BCIA and break the project down, like Ms. Pat said, so that you can have smaller projects. They wouldn't have to be bidded, but fix it to where you can get those numbers up. The BJCC made no attempt. They made their GC not force him to have any attempt to do that. So we sued them and went to court. And then the people got mad with us. The council members got mad with us, told me, oh, y'all calling y'all own plays. I didn't know we had a team. I didn't know we had a coach. I didn't know we had no offensive coordinator. I said, we were doing what we had to do. The judge threw the case out because she said that the Black Contractors Association, Inc., did not have standing, because in that contract, it was 3 people mentioned: City of Birmingham, BJCC, and BCIA. None of them would stand up and say anything about it. In fact, they kind of like stopped speaking to us because we were troublemakers. And and I'm too old to stop being a troublemaker now. I don't even go like my guy, talking about good trouble. If you're fighting, I don't know, I'm just ready to come and cause some trouble. I'm fighting back for our people, and we don't understand this because we don't know how much money we lose. When we lose the money, I'm finna start campaigning, but look at Inslee, and then go look at the communities where they're getting the work at. That's all we gotta say. Weeds all over my community. No place I wanted some ice cream so bad. I done got in the Holy Spirit now. I wanted some ice cream. I wanted a sundae. A peach sundae so bad. You can't find the damn ice cream place in the back of Memphis. I had to go to Oxmoor. And then it tasted crappy. So we don't have no stores, but all that is because we spend our money. Our money is being spent outside of our community and nobody cares. So that's all. Well, I don't want to take up all the time. Appreciate you. If not, then.
You have a question?
Okay.
Yes, sir. You had asked earlier about a coincidence. A coincidence is when two things happen at the same time, but it's just by chance, not because someone planned it. It's like two things happening together without any real connection. So we are seeing a lot of things that we say are not necessarily coincidences.
So, yeah, sit down. Now, look up conspiracy for me and let me know what's there. Two things
What's the
happen.
difference between conspiracy and coincidence?
Well, from what he said, it appears that two things happen. That's the code in it. And the incident are the things that happen. And they happen at the same time without the connection. So the difference is the connection.
Connection. If it's a connection.
Same people keep being involved in something happening, then that might be a conspiracy, not a coincidence.
It just might be.
A conspiracy is a secret plan by a group to do something harmful to another. A secret plan
A secret plan.
by a group to do something unlawful or harmful.
So who would be the group in this sense? I'm not saying it is our elected officials. The group are the people who've been getting all the money. It's the community of contractors who build up, and they even got a black firm now that they own wholly. And I'm talking about
It's a subsidiary.
What the name of the big group is?
Brassfield.
Brassfield and Goree. It's called Pylon. I looked around, see, they got 3 jobs around the city. But Brassfield still owns it. But it's a brother over it that they help. And we had some of our members say, well, Miss Pat, Brassfield just doing this guy a good favor. So I'm thinking, is he gonna turn that business over to that guy's family when he dies?
No.
So I don't understand what Bradfield's doing, but one of the members say, I could be wrong, that he just helping out poor darkies, by giving him a business that's doing more work than these people like Roy and Miss Pat that's been out here for years struggling to make it.
It's not his business. He is a subsidiary of other Brassfield Goree.
Wholly owned.
Brassfield Goree
It's not a
owns
partnership.
that business. He doesn't own it.
Okay, so we're gonna move on. D'Angelo, you next, you up next.
I got the next one.
You got the mic.
In other words, can everybody hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, you still use the mic though.
Use the mic.
Yeah.
My name is D'Angelo Hall. I serve as the president of the Fraternal Order of Police, Birmingham Lodge Number 1. I'm also an employee with the City of Birmingham in the Police Department for 15 years. We got started on a project earlier this year, and we were able to collaborate with the community to save Jefferson County, and found that we had a lot of interests that aligned totally across the board. We came in, sat down, started discussing some issues within the community, because you gotta remember, I grew up in this community. Got my tennis scholarship right here, playing off of Ensley Park, and went to Ensley High School, stayed on 24th and I, until I was able to go to Jackson State, Mississippi. Left there, did semi-pro tennis for a little while, and came back home. I do not live in the city of Birmingham, but my roots are in the city of Birmingham. And when I say my roots are in Birmingham, is that this is my heritage. Ensley is my heritage. And I have to give back what I've taken out. And if we don't do that as we progress in life, we're doing a disservice to ourselves and the people that helped us along the way. So after talking with Mr. Muhammad, he came up with an idea and a plan, and I said, well, let's sit down and put something together. and that was the Guardian Project, Inc. And what that is a understanding of getting all religious groups to start educating their congregation in the law. What we've seen was that the church has gotten away from direction, if that makes sense. And what I mean by that direction, not from the Lord, but the direction on where, if they're in this community, what direction can our congregation help this community? So you have the ability to do black contractors. You have the ability to do military, police, fire, school teachers, doctors, lawyers. So what we've come up with was just a plan to say, hey, look, we're gonna come in and help you figure out what is best for your community. When it relates to police is what I can talk about because it's my profession. If the church would lead you into an area of law enforcement in your community, what that does is also builds up your community by, number one, you have an individual that know the people that they're going to eventually serve. And that is truly key in policing, is knowing the people that you serve. It's not to say that you can't come from another area, another state, or anything like that. It just also builds and builds and builds on that community. That way we do not fall back into the area where we are now, high in crime. So the question was asked of us a while ago, how do you get away from over-policing? I was never able to answer that question without being cut off. I don't know what over-policing looked like, because in the city of Birmingham, we never done it. We've only worked in areas where crime was really high, and we would beat crime back, and then once that is done, we'll move back to a staggered area. So what over-policing looked like in Birmingham, I couldn't tell you, but I sure can tell you what no policing looked like in Birmingham. So that portion I can tell you. Birmingham is a civil rights capital of the country. The officers in Birmingham regularly trained on a regular basis on how to use verbal jujitsu, how to de-escalate situations. Not to say that we don't have them, but we de-escalate a lot of our situations that could have been a lot worse than what they turned out to be. And so the community and the Guardian Project, what the FOP and the Guardian Project is designed to actually get with the community, get with faith-based group, and try to direct younger people into the legal justice system, preferably police, because I'm police. I'm not a lawyer, so I'm gonna have to say police. And by doing so, you're gonna basically enlarge that community because you have people that understand it. We worked already up to date right now with several different projects, with several different leaders in the community, and several different leaders that are also elected officials across the state of Alabama. So we're doing our due diligence, but we're going to be reaching out to the churches to try to grab those to help us as well along the way, because we truly do need their voices.
Okay. Questions? Comments?
Yes, sir, Mr. Hall, what type of reception are you receiving from the cleric and the clerical leaders?
Well, I was going to say we're probably going to have to lean over to Brother Muhammad on that one, but there are some that I would say this: we were not well perceived early, and that's the honest to God truth. Because they feel like the FOP gets police out of trouble, and that is the farthest from the truth. We do not do that. What we do is basically simplified of the law, innocent until proven guilty. If an officer is guilty of something, myself, Brother Dexter would be the first ones to tell you, yeah, we ain't touching that. We'll be the first one to tell you we're not touching that, and walk away from that. We try to give all the support that we need until innocent until proven guilty. I think that's where the misconception is with the churches and the FOP. Let me rephrase it. With the black churches and the FOP, is that they think that we're getting people out of trouble, and we don't do that. So we use the law basically as it is, as it sits. So, you want?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that we are working with, the churches because that's a big part of the Garden Project. The Garden Project, we chose that name because whether you know it or not, some history is that at one time, the FOP, the black officers couldn't join the FOP. They had to have their own group, and that group was called the Guardians. So instead of history, we call this Garden Project. And the thing about it is this, we had a meeting here, was it a year ago? And Darrell O'Quinn came in. So he the one that kind of pulled our coat that we had so few police that we were facing a crisis. Now, we brought him in to talk about how he got to be the president of the council. He spent very little time on that because he said he didn't go and recruit anybody, it's something that just happened. But he wanted to talk to us about the lack of policing. And so we put together this plan to help recruit the police because police are the first line of defense in our community. And just like I thought about the FOP as those guys who were against Arrington, those white guys who were over there who were against Arrington, I was wrong. Then I realized that the police department is our community. And if it's not fully manned, then what we're looking at is all of the violence and other things that happen in our community. A big part of that is we don't have the front line fully manned in this war on everything we face in our community. So working with the clergy, they don't quite understand, but it's a big work in progress. So I just want to say what we've done so far. We had the opportunity to go speak to these superintendent of the school board, Dr. Sullivan. And he said to us that he wanted to have a police academy in the schools. So we got with the FOP and all of us was working together in one unit, but we helped facilitate a meeting between him and Chief Pickett, and both of them had the same idea. So what we're gonna do is the school system is gonna start, I don't know, probably not in high school, but in middle school, getting the children involved in an academy to bring them to a law enforcement. So I'll say this one thing, I'll be finished, because this is what I tell everybody. I have a grandson that's in Japan. He called yesterday, he's in the Navy, he's in Japan. When he graduated from Minor High School 2 years ago, his mama got in the car and she rolled up to my house and she said, "Daddy, Samoa said that him and his friend are gonna join the Navy. I'm coming up here to ask you not to talk him out of it. Because anything he wants to do in his life at this point that's positive, I want to support it." I said, okay. But later on, I found out that you could be a police officer in the city of Birmingham with a GED and get started at $60,000 a year and get a bonus. You can work for 20 years and you got a pension that starts right then. Then you can go off and work in Pleasant Grove someplace else and eat donuts. So I said, if I had known that, I had to go against what I promised her. We got one guy, and I guess we'd be live straight to call him that, but that's our friend Butch. Butch said he had never made less than $100,000. He said anybody that's a police officer that ain't made $100,000 don't want to work, because there's that much work out there for them. And he said that plenty of times he'd have made more than the chief just by the amount of work that's available there. So basically, we want to get the police department up. Maybe we can ask Dexter, D'Angelo, how many policemen do we actually have? Because that's been kept a secret. So can either one of y'all give me? I know y'all don't want to give me an estimate.
I don't really know the number.
Give me an estimation.
If I had to give an estimate, and of course this would be an estimate, because the exact numbers, they fluctuate with this present administration. It's not by accident, I fully believe. This is Dexter's opinion, not the opinion of the community of Jefferson County. But this is Dexter Cunningham's opinion. I believe that is by design. Because there are some bills down in Montgomery that will set in place a mechanism that the governor or the attorney general can appoint a police chief to be the interim police chief, and that interim police chief will get paid by us with our tax dollars, but they're gonna answer to the attorney general or the governor. That's like taxation without representation. That makes no sense to me. Especially if you have a plan on recruitment and retention, the people will come. But to answer your question, if I had to take a guess, maybe 550. They just graduated, what was it, 68 yesterday?
I thought it was 42.
Okay, 42. So they graduated 42 yesterday. Earlier in this year, I think they graduated about 60. So, and I think they may have had, how many academy classes have they had this year?
So far 2, and then we got
Another one scheduled soon.
another schedule with 100.
Okay, so they got another class scheduled with 100, but of course that class won't graduate until early next year. So in the course of approximately 16 months, you may be looking at your roles increasing maybe 150. But if you was 300 short, what does that tell you? And then if you have large classes that are eligible to retire, I can say this, and I can be pretty confident in saying this. There are at least 200 police officers presently working at the city of Birmingham that can walk out the door right now and retire. Right. At least 200, and I'm being conservative in that. I served for 27 years at the city of Birmingham. Enjoyed every minute of it, no regrets. If I had to do it over again, I'd do it again. Because I love serving. My life has been about service. But this isn't something that's new. Real leaders, they forecast. They don't look at tomorrow or the next week. They look 6, 9 months, a year down the road. And if you've got leaders in place that are understanding, hey, I've got this many police officers that are eligible to retire. We need to ramp up recruitment and retention. We all know what happened several years ago with the summer of upheaval, how George Floyd was murdered, and others that were murdered by unsavory police officers. I can say that. I believe it's standing with what's right. It's two things that I just detest, and I have to ask the Lord to work with me. That's a pedophile and a dirty cop. To me, you can pour gasoline on both of them and burn them in public. You know, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. I really am, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I am. Anyone who's ever worked with me know if you want to do something shady, don't do it around me, because I'll put cuffs on you myself. I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem. Although, and just to kind of piggyback off what D'Angelo said, I was president of the FOP for several cycles, and I had officers that would get in trouble. The FOP is in place to make sure due process is put in place. I had a member who got in trouble. He stole some money from a drug dealer. Well, I was the undercover supervisor who was working that case, and I recorded him saying, man, I told you just got to charge that money to the gang. I wanted that police officer put in jail, but all he did was fire him. He should have been put under the jail, because it's scabs and cockroaches like that that makes the job hard for men and women who serve, who trying to do the right thing. Because what does the public do? Oh, y'all in the same game, y'all crooked. And I mean, we have to work super hard to overcome that. But that's just a tad bit of the history that the FOP is in place to ensure due process. All citizens born in this country are afforded due process. Really, any human being in this country who sets foot over here is afforded due process. Now, we got some folks in higher places who don't think that being a person and being in this country is illegal, and so you should be afforded due process. That is asinine. We have a democracy. But in the city of Birmingham, we have to do an important job on making sure that our police officer roles are staffed adequately and staffed with the right people who want to serve. You know, police work is not cut out for everybody. I'm gonna tell you the truth. It's not. I used to be an FTO in the city of Birmingham. And I had some that I just had to have the hard question with. I'm like, hey, are you sure this job is for you? And it's okay if it's not. That doesn't make you a bad person, and that doesn't make you less than. But it's a particular mindset that goes in place with being a police officer. And if you're a police officer because you think you got the power, you might be doing the wrong thing. It is about service. And if it's not about service, find you something else to do.
Okay, Fairman?
I misspoke earlier. There were 48 officers that graduated, not 42. But would you elaborate a little bit more, Dexter, about what an FTO is?
Oh, okay.
And, yes.
Yeah, okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'm a police officer and a retired service member, so we always use these acronyms. So an FTO is a field training officer. What takes place when a police officer is hired? They go through the police academy for approximately 16 to 18 weeks, and they get training on physical fitness, on understanding the laws, and on how to investigate crimes, on how to interact with people. They get theoretical best case scenario education, basically classroom education. Once they graduate, they come to the streets where they are assigned to work with an older, more seasoned officer who has been policing a while, who has gone through specific training on how to do the hands-on training of that newly graduated police officer on how to conduct themselves and how to become a good servant of the people. That's one of the most important positions in the police department, because if you don't have a good FTO giving good training, because not only do they have to get the training, but they have to evaluate this person and say, okay, yeah, you should become a permanent police officer, or no, this isn't work, this ain't the work for you, move on to something else. And that's a hard decision, because you have people who maybe all their life they wanted to be a police officer, but they don't have the skill set or the temperament to do it. So you have to make that decision. So that's what the FTO is. In the back, Ms. Sheila?
Yes, do you think the recruitment now is, they're getting so many now because of the benefits and the incentives? Because I had an opportunity to talk to more than half of the recruitments for the last 3 classes, and they all brought up the benefits and the incentives.
I would absolutely have to agree with you. Unfortunately, for too many years, the pay the starting pay was stagnant, and the benefits were not as rich as some other municipalities. That has been corrected. At the end of the day, if you can be 19 years old with a GED and get a job starting you out with $60,000 a year, it's people who get master's degrees who are not starting with that in the workforce. That's real fact. Now, with that, you gotta understand, if you come to work in the city of Birmingham, they ain't just giving you the money. You're gonna earn every dime of that. You're gonna earn every dime. There is an aspect of law enforcement that you see things that you cannot unsee. You see a child that has been abused by some unsavory parents and they're dead. You can't unsee that. Right. You see a woman or a man that's been killed by their spouse. You can't unsee that. That's on your hard drive, this brain. It's there. It's there. There is a reason that police officers have high incidents of divorce, alcoholism, drug abuse, and suicide. It's a reason. Now, and I can say this, what the city has not done, they have not done a good job of helping with the counseling of police officers. I know they got employee assistance, but I'm telling you, I've been doing this for over 30 years. It is way deeper than that. The only thing that's kept me in my right mind is my relationship with my Savior. If it wasn't for that, I know I'd be a stumbling drunk or a dopehead. Because I have seen some stuff that Lord knows I wish I could unsee. But I can't. And I'm okay with that. I'm comfortable with that. But I mean, you have to be honest with people when they're getting into law enforcement. There are portions about it that you can't unsee. And unfortunately, what sometimes the community does not see. And I apologize for being long-winded on this, Mr. Muhammad. because I believe in this all my life in law enforcement. There is nothing nice about having to arrest somebody and use physical force. It would be great if somebody broke the law and I called them, I'm like, sir or ma'am, you're under arrest. Would you please put your hands behind your back so you can go to jail? Okay, you caught me, I'm gonna go to jail. That doesn't happen a whole lot. So then it gets physical. And sometimes it gets physical to the point that you may have to hurt that person or actually take that life. There is less than hundreds of percentage of police officers who put on a uniform like, I hope I get a chance to shoot somebody today. Especially in the city of Birmingham, because we live with the ghosts of the past. I have a mother-in-law in my house. I got a good friend who Bull Connor and his minions set dogs on him. We live with that. It is a reason and design for well over 40 years, K-9 officers in the city of Birmingham Police Department, they didn't work in the daytime. They only worked at night. Because we live with the ghosts of the past. We live with grown African American men being called boy by police officers. That's why we have to learn the verbiage. We ain't real quick to try and pull a gun. Just think about an officer who has to take a life in the line of duty, and now he's being scrutinized for everything he's done. Nobody wants that. They don't. They don't. But they do want to serve. And most importantly, they want to go home at the end of the day. You had another question?
Yes. I'm a veteran, and through the Veteran Administration, they have a program where it's mandatory. With the benefits that you receive, that you take classes a certain amount, I think it's every 3 months, you have to have a certain amount of hours. It's part of PTSD and mental evaluation. So do you think that's a good program that will be introduced to the armed forces? With the incentives that y'all do have?
Absolutely. And not only is it a good idea.
Got a problem or not?
Yeah. And D'Angelo and I'm not going to speak too much on it, but he and I have been in conversations for the very thing that you said. Now, larger cities throughout the country, they actually have psychologists and therapists on duty and on their payroll. I understand Birmingham is not that big, and we may not be able to afford that, but you got to ask yourself, what can you afford for someone who is serving you that's now broken? But what can you afford that? Can you afford to have a person who is licensed to have a gun, but because of what he has endured while serving the city, he's now mentally unstable? Can you afford that? Can you afford that? You ask yourself, at what price? Sarah Bell?
Yes, so the 48 men and women that just graduated from the police academy, you explained that there's a field training officer process now that's in place after that. How long will those new graduates work with a field training officer before they are on their own?
Is it 18 weeks?
Yeah, it's 18 weeks now.
18. Okay. So I think they're still doing it 9 weeks on one shift,
Okay.
and then 9 weeks on another shift.
Are they evaluated after each 9-week
They're
period?
evaluated every day.
Daily.
Daily?
They're evaluated daily, and then if I'm not mistaken, then they have a 2-week or mid evaluation, which is kind of major, that they sit down with the supervisor. So I mean, it's an excellent program.
Sounds like it.
Oh yeah, it is.
Thank you, but I wanted to move on to the, but before I did, I just wanted to make a point to what Dexter was saying. So, how many people are we budgeted for in the city of Birmingham? Is it 900? Because you said, I don't know, they couldn't afford it. It's like, let's come out and get my $60,000. I had a master's in counseling. If I had a GED, I could have went out there in the police department and made way more money than I got coming out of UAB with a master's in counseling. But how much money is in the budget for the police department? So,
Is it 786?
I think it is 786, and I think the budget is 119.
So 119, y'all talking
I know that's what it was.
military language again?
I know that's what it was last year.
So if you say
Yeah, man, 786.
786
City of Birmingham is budgeted, police department is budgeted for 786 police
Oh,
officers.
700 police officers.
Yeah, 786.
And that would come to how much money, because I know you had to estimate, but how much money would that?
So, I mean, to do it easy, now
Yeah, just estimate.
they're gonna be budgeted at the topped out pay,
Right.
which is probably around $85,000. So you multiply 85,000 times 786.
Can you get that Roy right quick? Roy good with his phone with how much it did.
That number does not include sergeants, lieutenants, and captains.
Okay, we ain't gonna worry about sergeant, lieutenant, and captains. I'm trying to make it.
Where's the budget?
That's not the way it's budgeted.
No, it's not. We just went through this, we're in the middle of budget finance account now.
Okay.
So, you know, with COVID being, you know, when we had COVID, it was a lot of money came in and allowed the different municipalities and the counties and the states to put money in their extra, in their general fund, which increased your general fund. Now, the money is gone. It had to be, I think this is the last year of spending that money out. So that extra money that was coming in will no longer be coming in. So the problem that I'm looking at and the question that I'm going to ask our finance department, how can we keep up the level of spending with that extra money when you know it's been stopped? You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So how are you going to be able to keep that level of capacity of spending that type of money when you no longer have that on the population? Because that's how your budget is gained off of the population and the tax revenue that's coming. I do have some paperwork right here that I can give you about the county, ain't got nothing to do with the city, on the taxes and the duty of county commission.
So Roy, did you?
Yes, sir, that budget, if it's 786 officers at 85,000, it's 66,810,000.
Okay, 66, we estimate $66 million budget. And,
$6-7 million budget.
okay, and $67 million budget. And if we don't have 786 officers, how many would you estimate that we have? I'm just doing math, and I'm not good at math, I flunk math.
500.
500, so that's 286 at 85,000, that money is there. So that's something we need to think about, because one of our positions with the agenda is that we want to push the city council that money should only be spent on public safety. It should be spent for stadiums, it should be spent for entertainment venues. That particular budget, that money should be spent for public safety. And that's what we are pushing. Now, they may not agree with that, but.
But if it's earmarked, William, that's all it can be spent on. So is the money earmarked or
No.
is it placed in their general budget for the police department?
I don't know the difference between earmark and placement,
Earmarked,
but.
then you can't spend on nothing but that.
So we need to get it earmarked, because I know this is what happens,
With salary surplus.
salary surplus, every year, because it was O'Quinn who told us about that when he came in.
Salaries are not earmarked.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
okay.
that means you surplus and they spend it where they want.
They spend it where they want to spend it. So we as citizens have to demand that you can't spend this police money where you want to. You gotta spend it on something to protect the public safety. And then it'll be earmarked, we'll be earmarked, and it will be there. But anyway, we wanna move on. So the next up is our second co-chair member of this the public forums is Phyllis Odom Jones, who is also running for council. She's a council member in Fairfield, and she's running for council president.
And good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
The thing that I wanted to address was the blight, because in our neighborhood, we always talking about the blight, the blight, the blight. And as I travel and go to other neighborhoods, and we talk about in Shelby County, or either I won't go that far, I would say Homewood, not Home, well, Homewood or Harrytown. And when I went to Harrytown, I noticed that the people in Harrytown and Pleasant Grove, they don't complain about the blight. So it's in our communities that we're complaining about the blight. So I said, so I went and started doing some research, and I was saying, what can we do about the blight in our neighborhoods? We'll knock down the houses, we'll condemn the houses. I mean, yeah, we'll clear the land, but we're not doing anything. We're not doing anything else. So what's next? So what I did a plan. I did a plan, and what I was looking at is that even with the black contractors, why can't we connect with the black contractors and start building homes on those lands? And some of those lands belong to the cities. You know, not only with Birmingham, with Fairfield, and with the other cities that are complaining about the blight. Everybody's complaining about the blight. When I hear people campaigning, the blight, and overgrown lots. So let's do something about that. We're talking about it, but we're not going the next step. So I was talking to some of the black tech contractors, Mr. Smith and Pat, what can we do? We connect with them. The cities can connect with them. Some of the land belongs to us. So why can't we connect with them and invest in the black contractors? Why can't we do that? And then, I was saying, if we did that, that would give our people some hope. Because, you know, in our community, there is no hope. We feel like there's no hope. There is nothing for us in our community. And if we build homes, and I was sitting here thinking, I said, okay, if we build homes in those areas, build a hope, give people to work, a reason to work, to go to work, and invest in their communities. Maybe that would, bring our communities up. Maybe they'll stop people from going all the way to Shelby County, wanting to move to Shelby County, to move out of the city. When I think about Inslee, when I think about this area, people move out of the area and it goes down. And we don't have any businesses here. People don't bring their business here. Why? We have to think about why they don't do that. We got to demand more. And I'm not saying this in a negative way. Then people may say I am saying it in a negative way. But I was very disappointed about the grocery stores in 5 Point West. You wouldn't do that. You wouldn't put that grocery store in, I'm not gonna go, I would say in 5 Point West.
Oh, no.
I'm telling you, you would not put that grocery store in Homewood. You would not put it in Hurontown. You would not have put it in Pleasant Grove. Why would you put it in 5 Point West? You would not have done that. So we deserve more. We got to demand more. We cannot allow you to just give us anything just to say we have a grocery store. You cannot just do this to us and just say, well, I gave you a grocery store. I gave you this. So what are you talking about? What are you complaining about? And then they say, well, build it there and go. No, you're not going to build anything and we'll go to it. I went one time and the smell was ridiculous. The floor was ugly. You know what I'm just saying? You wouldn't do that in other neighborhoods. So why are you giving it to us and we accepting it? I'm not saying protesters. I'm just saying, why would you do that to us? And think we say, okay, we accept it. I'm just kind of like fed up. And by me running for the city council president, I said, okay, I got a plan. We're going to have to go with it. We're going to have to move forward and do better. And we're going to have to demand more. We're going to have to demand more. So I said, when I was talking to Mr. Smith, I said, Mr. Smith, how can I work with you? Because we're going to have to work with you. We're going to eliminate the blight. We're going to have to build homes, affordable homes. When I say affordable homes, I'm not talking about $300,000 homes. That's not an affordable home. That's not an affordable home for me. So why would you put a $300,000 home in our community? Who's going to afford that? That's not an affordable home. So I'm just saying we need to reevaluate things in our community and ask the people, hey, what can we do? How can we fix these problems? And we say, okay, we have a weed abatement. We knock the homes down, the abandoned homes, and it's vacant. And then the weeds, and then you got all kinds of critters Roy, no. What's next? I mean, what's the next step? What is the next step? So we got to have it got to be a plan, and it needs to be a committee. You got to have a committee with a plan. So we got to stop. I mean, I'm just saying, with the committee, I'm just saying with the, the housing committee. Okay, so what's next? I'm just saying, when you knock the houses, when you knock the building down, whatever down, okay, so what's next? You're just gonna knock it down, it's gonna be vacant?
Well,
So you gotta have a plan, what's next, what you gonna do next?
well, Dexter got an idea he was telling me about.
Can I ask?
Okay, I just want to tell about Dexter's idea. Dexter had the idea, though you can use the weeds to, what did you do with weeds with them? Cause what you said, we do with weeds to make gasoline or something.
I mean, but you have to do something, you're gonna have to do something that's gonna better our neighborhood is what I'm gonna say. We just cannot accept anything and just say, okay.
Okay, so, what's called Eddie Cannon up first, Sheila?
So you know what, it's funny that we have all of these resources that look like me. And a lot of these sources don't ask for public money. They ask for collaboration and they ask for the space. You take for an example, District 8, Bush Hills Connectors, went and took blight and rehab blight, and they had general contractors from other places, didn't ask for a dime, partnership and came in, and guess what they did? Not only did they rehab those houses, but black families in Bush Hills are in those houses. Now, one thing that I do have to, I do not a lot of city money, shoot, just a tad bit, about $30,000 from what I read. One thing that does have to happen is that we have to hold our elected officials accountable.
That's true.
A part of holding our elected officials accountable, a lot of them got these hefty discretionary budgets. And we speak about community foundations, which are centered around these 501c3s. If we look at these areas and we say that between this point of my term or this point of my 4 years, I want to work with city councilors and state reps to create community foundations that speak holistically towards housing. Who will be playmakers in that? Then you got the contractors, then you got the city, then you may have other nonprofits that talks about affordable housing. But until we start having elected officials that, number one, that don't take away from the people, but also come back and hold the people accountable. When they do make this stuff happen, we're going to be having this conversation. I'm talking about state legislators, because they're the ones that have the ability to change the laws as it relates to properties and clean these properties, so forth and so on. So I think the piece that we have to ask ourselves is that are we going to continue to allow state legislators to throw the fault on the city, because it's not the city fault. It's the state, because they have the ability to change the laws to give the city the ability to do more.
Yes, but still, some of the property belongs to the city. And if the property belongs to the city, they can connect with a contractor to build homes on the property that belongs to them.
But the problem is that, guess what, if they ain't in your clique, it ain't gonna work with you.
Well, it can.
I wanted to say this before we go to Sheila. Like you said, accountability, so they give me the opportunity. We got something in the midst of us, and that's elected officials that evidently we've determined that's the problem. And what I want to say is that we can do this stuff without having an elected official. I got a Muslim brother, and he's a part of our group. We're going to be working in Fairfield. My idea, dream, and goal is to recruit 1,000 people into our organization. We call it Power Financial Network. And we're asking those people to put money together, $1,000 from each person. That's $1 million. And if we go to Fairfield with $1 million, we can. I got a Muslim brother just bought a house for $1,000. I mean, I know that when we think about lower income, the lower income go up to $300,000. So we want to put $300,000 houses in Hensley. I'm saying they are houses that can be used, that people could be living in, that can be put on the tax roll. And we can fix them ourselves without saying, well, the city council ain't gonna do it, the mayor ain't gonna do it. 1,000 of us get together and chip in $1,000 and have $1 million that we wanna go to Fairfield with that $1 million. Fairfield got the most distressed properties I've seen anywhere in the world. And they're beautiful. They're beautiful house, brick houses. They got more empty brick houses in Fairfield than any place I've been. And the Mexican, I don't know if Mexican is a non-political term, but Latino. How many Latinos you see up there at city council asking for money? They fixing out to take you to a house right in my community on Shanghai was empty for 30 years. A Latino brother got the house in one of the nicest houses up there. Now, I ain't seen them since Trump came. He got it out. I mean, you don't see him around there, but they fixed his house up. They had the skills. They pooled their money, and that's what I want to preach. Sheila?
I sit on the National Black County Commissioner Board. I am the vice chair of Affordable Homes and Census. I've been going to classes since the grocery store come up. Grocery stores just don't come in your neighborhood because you ask. They look at theft, they look at people, they look at income. And if you ain't got it, they ain't coming. I don't care if you offer them a free building. You just gonna have to be this deep. You're gonna have to offer them a free building, free taxes for a certain amount of years. That's why Fairfield in the shape they in now. Because they got free taxes for 6 years, and when their free taxes was up, what they did? They left. Because you know why? Because they didn't meet the income barrier of the people shopping in them. Grocery stores ain't gonna just come in there just to please 50 people, or to please 1,000 people. They have an amount of people who they want shopping in their store per month. That's how they determine whether they come in your area. If they can't make that $1 billion a month, I'm just throwing numbers out. They ain't coming. Right. If they have more than $600,000 in theft a year, they ain't coming. All of that. And these are not rules that was made up by the state, the city, or the county. These are rules that's made up by the people who own these grocery stores. I'm gonna go to housing. I'm gonna go to housing, affordable homes. You can clear off a lot and give somebody a lot.
Right.
If they don't want to live in their neighborhood, I try to give my daughter a house in West End. She ain't want. Okay? If it ain't the area that suit their family, and the school system don't suit their family, the grocery stores don't suit their family, the look of the neighborhood don't suit, they don't want you to come. I just invested with the county in District 2. We building houses down on Morgan, I think it's Morgan Road. But that's a area that's like, I guess like unincorporated type of area. You have people want to move down in that area. But now we're building houses over in Rising West Princeton, and we can barely, we got to convince and talk to people, and you know the ones who's coming? Senior citizens. No one within childhood or age is having kids because they can't get in Princeton. You have to stand in line and all of this to get in Princeton Elementary School. They have a good school over there, and they have a problem with the theft over there and the look of the community and the people that's around in that little Third Avenue West area. They have a problem with that. This is something that's being made up. That's these people's lives, and that's what they choose to live at. And it's nice and it's good to say that we want these areas clean. We want the houses torn down. If you tear down a house, and there's no reason to leave a house up. There's no reason to leave a house up because it's going to be a vacant lot and the grass is going to grow. You can't keep up with grass growing. Because I have to cut my grass. I was cutting my grass every 2 weeks. I wasn't cutting my husband's cut. Now we have ended up cutting it every week. Right. So we either gonna pay, and he worked out there, so he gonna cut it, or we gonna, so now we got somebody to cut it. Because he couldn't keep up with it and work too. We gotta put all of that in, and then you gotta look at how much money you got coming. Before I became a public official, and William Muhammad, you know this. I was thinking just like this. This is the way I was thinking. So I had to learn different. I learned how government worked. I learned about the money. I learned how much money was coming in. I went to the grocery store conferences and found out about these people who own these grocery stores. I went and learned about affordable homes and seen why people didn't want to build. I started talking to people who I wanted to move in my community. Right now, we have 11 houses vacant. How many people know how many houses on this street? There's 91 houses on my street, 11 vacant. I can tell you that. I know exactly who live in them. I can tell you verbatim. I know how many grandkids they kids. That's what you got, that's what you call controlling your block. I can control from 14th place in the dead end to Steiner Avenue. And that's the type of work that we're going to have to do. We got to live in reality. This world, this is for real. This ain't no game.
Okay, but to address something, and I want to address something that she was saying that about the grocery store, and this is Walmart. Walmart was in Fairfield for 10 years, but it wasn't because the people were stealing in Walmart. Walmart, people were stealing from the head. Okay, I'm just saying, Walmart people were stealing from the head, and this is because I was a police officer, and I know that the people, it was the management that was stealing. It was the management that stole most of the stuff. And then they had already started building in Harrytown. So it was already a plan. So don't just put it on Fairfield. Okay, don't just put it on Fairfield. It was already a plot. But I also say that if you start building the house on those block lands, let's try it. Let's try something different. Let's try it and see. I mean, yes, people do move into communities where they want, but let's try it. Don't say it can't be done. Let's do it and see whether it can be done. I say, okay, and I know some block houses in Fairfield or some in Birmingham, but let's try it. Don't say it can't be done. Let's try it and do it, and then see whether people will move into homes and keep the homes up. Let's try it. Don't say it can't be done.
If you put something new there, and if you give people something that looks totally different than what they've seen in the last 15 years, you know what it's going to force people to do? This is the new look that's coming to our community.
And that's my point.
And if you don't want to line up to what this look like, then guess what we want to do? We want to move you up out of there. That's where grandmama, who's still staying her house,
Let's try
can
something
still
different.
feel like, guess what? Her property value and her home. Guess what? It's worth something. But what we can't do, and I've heard it so much, we can't keep sitting up here talking about, well, they ain't coming. They ain't coming. Well, then what you do? Hell, you come throw trash up there and say, like, y'all get that until we get you something back, but ain't nobody coming. No. And I told the mayor this. I told the mayor and I told Councilor Clark, if y'all was going to put this in the Insula Hollis neighborhood that I am the president of, and say it's okay, and I hold the owners of this store accountable for the quality of what they're giving us, why you bring it here? And they looked at me and said these words. Both of them. Said, guess what, Mr. Womack? We brought a grocery store for your area. Really?
Yeah. And say,
no, you should have left it empty.
And Tennessee turned theirs into, they bring them now.
I mean, we don't have to accept anything, is what I'm saying. We do not have to accept anything. We're better than this. They don't do that over there. They don't accept anything. They would not accept anything in other communities. In Pleasant Grove, let me tell you, I said right across from Uncle Sam's, and I don't know what their ordinance is, but right across from Uncle Sam's, it was a pink and green building. Baby, it was 30 days. They moved out that building, they knocked it down. Right across from Zaxby's was a funeral home. That funeral home was empty 30 days. What happened? They knocked it down. They would not have that in their community. So if they don't have it in their community, baby, why would we have it in ours?
We make excuses.
Okay.
We make excuses.
We got to bring it back
we
up
got
and
to stop it. We got to stop it. If they don't have it in theirs, we're not going to have it in ours. That's what I'm saying.
Just to
Man more.
To briefly chime in on what all of you have mentioned, especially as it regards to affordable housing in the land bank and how it's been set up. I think if you were to go back over the past, and I'll keep it brief, if you go back from the establishment of the land bank and what they were doing, and I think the intent of it was very well, because you had homes that were under the control of family, their heir property, no one's paying the taxes. So the city put a mechanism in place to come, to acquire them. And you correct me if I'm wrong, Ms. Sheila, if I see anything wrong. So I think it started off on the right track of, you couldn't control how the blight was there, it was acquired. I know kind of firsthand, at least in the last 36 months, there have been a lot of corporate entities who have acquired some of these homes and these lots. And I cannot fault any individual for believing in themselves to and invest in the community to make some money, because that's, if you want to use your money to make some money. So they get it at a good price from the land bank, they build a house and they sell it, or they rehab the property and they flip it and they make some money. I don't begrudge anyone from doing that, but I think there does not need to be a city system set up in place that would exclude a working class individual who's making about $50,000 or $60,000. That individual should have the same access as a corporate entity to come in to acquire the land or acquire the property. I'm just throwing it out there, and then that's that. Now I know I was on here to speak as it relates to pension issues with the city of Birmingham, and I'll be real brief with that. In 2018, when the current administration came in, the city of Birmingham's pension system was approximately 72% funded. There was some dialogue, and there was some dialogue post-election and even shortly after election. There was a push for our system to be merged with Retirement Systems of Alabama. Retirement Systems of Alabama is basically the state pension system. That's the big gorilla in the room. That's a $40 billion plan that services well over 300,000 people in the state of Alabama who are beneficiaries. Excellent plan, and it's ran by Dr. Bronner. He's the CEO of it. But our system, City of Birmingham system, that year was better funded than the state system. So why would somebody that doesn't make sense. If you got more money percentage-wise than they got, well, why would you want to go into that? The city pension system, the debt that carries on the city's ledger, Gatsby rules, and I'm going way back, Gatsby rules changed probably about 20 years ago now. It used to be a time when the city did not have to count the unfunded portion of the city on its CAFCA, or basically that is a municipal credit score. That's what a CAFCA is. They didn't have to count the city's, the unfunded liability of a pension, but the rules changed. So now that has to be held on there. This mayor had some legislation passed, and it was under the guise of fixing the system. And I'm going to speak on that because I know this, because I've been doing this over 25 years. Our system was not broken, but they wanted to eliminate the unfunded liability, because if they didn't, the credit rating agency said, your bond rating is going to go down. It's going to cost you more money to borrow money if you don't get this down. So laws were passed, and now it's mandatory that whatever the actuary that comes in, the accountant that comes in every year and says, you need this much money put into the pension system so it can get to 100%. And they have to do that. They absolutely, and it doesn't matter if Mr. Wolfman isn't re-elected, the next mayor, they'll still have to do that because that's the state law. But it also reduced what employees, future employees, any employee hired after July 1st of 2021, the most they can ever get is 67%. Any police officer hired after July 1st of 2018, the most they will ever be able to get is 60, wait a minute, let me change that. The police officer will be able to get 68%. A civilian employee, the most they'll ever be able to get is roughly about 53%.
40 and what was it?
It was 75%. That's wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got two people doing the same job, but because one person got hired a year before I got hired, we gonna make the same pay. He gonna do 30 years and he gonna get 75%. I'm gonna do 30 years and I'm gonna get 52. Tell me, how is that right?
That's right. That's right.
How can you attract the best and brightest talent?
That's right.
Now what's gonna happen, because Birmingham is so large, they're gonna come there, they're gonna get the experience, they're gonna know what to do.
That's right.
I applaud every city of Birmingham employee. I have much love and respect for them, because I did it for 27 years. You learn a lot, you can grow your resume. Especially with the generation that we have going into the workforce now, their loyalties is to themselves. They're gonna come there 3 to 5 years, and they out the door. Whereas I come from a generation, the way my parents raised me, boy, you get you somewhere where you can work and get you a pension.
That's right.
Yes, always gonna be some problems in a job, but you get you somewhere where you can earn and get a pension. And once again, I operate a little different than other folks. I started planning my own personal retirement when I was 18 years old.
Right.
I started investing to the stock market when I was 19 years old.
Okay.
I made a promise with myself and the good Lord that, Lord, if you give me the strength, let me work the plan that you give me, and at 55 I work because I want to and not because I have to. And so now I retired 2 times. I retired from the military and I retired from the city, and I'm working on a 3rd. And I said all of this to say this. We have retirees in the city of Birmingham who have not had an increase in 30 years.
Come on.
30 years, that's 3 decades. It might be some folks in here who ain't even 30 years old.
Wow.
So since before you was born, it was people who retired, who spent 20 and 30 years, the best years of their life, in service to the city. And they hadn't got an increase since then.
Wow.
Boy.
In April of this year, there were 8 trustees that showed up at the pension board meeting. And all 8 trustees, the chairman of the board, which is the mayor included, they all agreed that retirees should get a $400 increase. That was the motion that was put out. Now, mind you, you ain't got a raise in 30 years. That ain't even keeping up with the price of inflation.
That's on your pension check, right?
That's correct. A $400 increase. Now, I'm telling you, because I had retirees to come there and speak. And just $400. They ain't keeping up with inflation. But they were appreciative of that. The original plan was to do a 3.5% increase. But a 3.5% increase for somebody, let's say you got a retired employee who getting $4,000 a month, and then you got one who getting $1,000 a month. What is 3.5% to somebody who getting $1,000 a month? Because we have retirees who getting $1,000 a month. We have retirees who getting $400 a month, and their widows are getting $320. We asked for a $400 across the board. All 8 trustees agreed to do that, and it was moved forward. And the chairman of the board said, "I don't know what the city council is going to do." Now let me go ahead and give you a little information. Every budget that has been placed before this council since in these last 4 years and in the 4 years before that has been passed. And in that motion, it was said that the chairman of the board, which is the mayor, you would tote the water to get this done. We just asked for $400. That's $18 million. The budget comes out, it's over $500 million. The largest budget in the city of Birmingham history, $591 million. For these retirees, I'm asking for $18 million. And what did I get? Y'all hear? You hear them crickets? That's the same thing I got.
Zero.
She got nothing.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing.
That's all right.
Nothing. And myself, and I don't mind being painted the bad guy. It's okay. I'm a big boy. I can handle it. It's okay. Because the one thing that I promised my retirees when I ran for, this is an elected position, elected by the retirees of the city of Birmingham. I said I would advocate for you, I will fight for you, but one thing I will never do, I will not tell a lie to get you more money. I don't care if it gets you more money. I will not tell a lie. Because I deal only in facts and numbers. That's all I deal with. I don't deviate from that. especially at my age, it's harder to keep up with a lie. So it's just, it's hard to keep up with a lie. Just keep up with the truth. We asked for $400.
Wow.
In the salary surplus alone, now just in 2022, the police chief returned back to the city for money that was not spent in his budget, $12 million. 12 million. That's just from that department that wasn't spent. Now, you know, the city got multiple departments. We asked them, could we not look at salary surplus to do this?
Yeah.
No.
Wow.
Could we not? Okay. So they kept saying that we have to have excess returns, and it was just minimal. I said, well, how much was it? He said, we got roughly $1 million. I wanted to put out a motion, well, you got $1 million, we got $1 million in excess returns. Now, mind you, the city of Birmingham's pension system is a $1.2 billion system. $1.2 billion. There are more assets, employee assets, in the pension system than the city's budget. I put the motion out there where if we have $1 million in excess returns, let's take 17 million, that's 18 million, to give these people relief. And what was I met with? No. Okay then, Mr. Chairman, what is your plan to do something for the retirees to give them some type of relief? Well, I got the same plan y'all got. Everything that I'm saying, I'm not adding to and I ain't taking away. It's on the record because I deal with things being on the record. I don't do backdoor side meetings, and I know. Let's keep everything on the record because we're all adults. We can keep it above board. It is wrong.
Yes.
It is inhumane.
Yes.
That we have men and women who have served the city of Birmingham, and they have to make the decision. Do I get my blood pressure medicine,
yes,
or do I buy some food to eat?
That's right.
Then you need to eat your food to take your medicine.
That's right.
So what you gonna do?
That's right.
I mean, it is wrong. And here it is. We were asking for $18 million, $400. If somebody could do the math, what is 18 million in the tune to a $591 million budget? I can pretty much play with the numbers. That's not even 2% of the budget.
Wow.
That's not 2%. But we were met with no. That bothers me.
Yes.
That concerns me. Most importantly, let's say you don't work for the city, and you ask yourself, well, I just live in the city, and why should I be concerned? You should be concerned. What is the quality of police officer or fireman or public works person? What is the quality of the person who's going to be when they know if I come and work, this is what I'm gonna get?
That's right.
I ain't finna work myself like that for them folks.
That's
I'm finna
right.
get this little piece of training and go on about my business.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Working for the city and serving the citizens of Birmingham has been one of the greatest joys of my life. I ain't being hokey, I'm just being honest. Because my life has been about service. Not serving myself, but serving others.
Right.
And look, yeah, I want to make a decent wage. I got a wife and a mortgage and kids, and I want to be able to take care of them. And the city of Birmingham absolutely has afforded me that. But it is absolutely wrong. And to give you a perfect example, a captain, which is an executive level position in the city of Birmingham Police Department. In 1996, captain's top out pay was $55,000.
Wow.
So this captain retired and she got 75% of $55,000, and she hadn't got an increase since then. How is it right?
Make it make sense.
How is it right when we just asked for $400? $400. I do not understand it. I'll never understand it. And in the same token, what I will not do, I will never back down or shirk from my responsibilities or duties, and I will not stop that fight. I will be moving forward when this conversation takes place next year, whoever the mayor may be. This has got to come up. Now, it was mentioned in the meeting that the chairman was blindsided and some other trustees were blindsided. How can you be blindsided and you've been sitting in this position 7.5 years? How you gonna be blindsided? Well, you know you ain't never did that for him. We know this. You ain't never did that for him. Now, did he inherit some problems from previous administrations? Absolutely, absolutely. But in that same token, when the laws changed to make it mandatory that they pay into the system to make it whole and reducing future employees' benefits, not only did it affect future employees, but their spouses. So right now, if you got hired by the city at a certain time, if you do 30 years and you want to retire, and you got a wife or a husband, if you want them to get something in case you should die, you got to give up 20% of your pension. So your spouse, now in my case, my spouse, because I served the time that I served, if I pass away, my wife is going to get 60% of my pension, of 60% of what I'm getting presently. She'll get 60%. And my underage daughter, if I got a child that's under the age of 18, they'll get 60% until they turn 18. That's right. But how is it that somebody served 30 years and then you say, well, if you want your wife to get some, you're going to have to give up 20% of what you're going to get monthly. Now, you're already getting something reduced. All of this plays into the quality of your workforce coming into place. And the last thing I'm going to speak on as it relates to the land thing, because I heard a candidate use this at the forum the other day, and I thought, yeah, I wonder where he got that from. I'm a firm believer in not reinventing the wheel. In the city of Atlanta, their police has a foundation. That police foundation, of course, and just to explain, you cannot use your tax dollars to necessarily pay for the mortgage of an employee. You can't do that. That's not how government works. But this police foundation, specifically in Atlanta, they also have one in Charlotte. That foundation takes donations from corporate entities. And they, in turn, if you live in the city limits of Atlanta, in Charlotte, they pay your mortgage for 5 years and give you a take-home car. The city of Birmingham has a police foundation. The city of Birmingham has an EIN or tax number that has a foundation. It's set up. It needs a executive director, and you can move forward with taking in the money. You cannot tell me, even in Ensley, in Tennessee, you tell a man or a woman who is a police officer, we'll pay your mortgage for 5 years if you live in the house for 5 years. You can do what you want to, but after that, you ain't paying the mortgage for 5 years. You can keep that house and move wherever you want to and rent that one out of Airbnb. But when you have police officers living in the neighborhoods that may be distressed, right, it changes the dynamic of the neighborhood. Lil Pookie and JoJo ain't finna come slang on that block. Because they know Officer Ron and Officer D'Angelo and Officer Cunningham, man, police all over here. I ain't finna come slang no dope over here. I ain't finna come break in the car over here, because shoot, I break in the car over here, they might light me up. If I break in their house, they might be pulling me out in the body bag. You're absolutely right. Because you come break in my house, you might break in, but you're gonna get carried out. That's the bottom line. That changes the dynamics of the neighborhood. Now you ask yourself, what impact would this be to a city budget? Not a dime.
Zero.
You cannot tell me they're not corporate entities that would gladly write a $250,000, $500,000 check to a police foundation to come improve every neighborhood in the 99 neighborhoods of the city of Birmingham. If you had 10 police officers living in every neighborhood in the city of Birmingham, one thing, and I'm gonna be a gambling man, I'll roll the dice, I guarantee you crime gonna come down.
Overnight.
If you got 10 in all 99 neighborhoods, and I can tell you this, because I work at a campus municipal police department. I ain't gonna say which one, because I ain't representing them right now. I'm representing Dexter and these retirees, and I live in the city limit right here. I got co-workers who live in Coleman and Tuscaloosa County, and I was telling them about it, and he's like, Dexter, Birmingham said they pay for my mortgage for 5 years. I'm packing up my wife, and we coming right now. Yeah, it's a no-brainer. That's a win. That's a win. You're gonna get a quality police officer. You're gonna change the dynamics of the neighborhood. Your tax revenue is gonna come up because they're living in Birmingham. They're probably gonna do some shopping in Birmingham too. And the city is safer overall. Now, somebody was told this, and if they say they didn't tell them, they're not telling the truth, and I ain't gonna mention their name. But somebody was told this, somebody who is in a position of authority and to make it happen. When they came to that town hall meeting at the lodge, I asked that specific question. And that person told me, well, how do you know we got a foundation?
Wow.
So you playing with me. I've been doing this since you was in grade school. Okay. And now you're leading the city and you're even questioning. This is something that's going to help the city and the citizens. We, the people in this room, after this election is done, there'll be some more campaigning for a couple of weeks. We got to do a better job of holding our elected officials accountable. They can say, what's the old saying? The squeaky wheel gets the oil. You make that phone call, and look, we all got lives. You can't be at every city council meeting. You can't be at every committee meeting. But if you send that email and you are at those meetings, because I ask my retirees, I tell them in the heartbeat, I say, look, I need you at the meeting. Come at the meeting because he thinks it's just me and it's a fight against him. I ain't fighting nobody. I'm fighting for my people, and I always will. I don't know any other way to be. If they tell me to stop it, then I'll probably resign because I only know how to do what's right, especially for the least served. You have no idea how it has hurt my heart when the city of Birmingham was hacked. And a widow, her husband had served 30 years with the police department. And the city employee in the pension division told him, oh, well, our system is hacked. We can't take your application now, and we don't know when it's going to be back up. She don't know how she's going to pay her mortgage. I said, ma'am, you give me I got a meeting. We'll get something done for you. Once again, if I gotta be the bad guy, I'll be the bad guy. She got an application by the end of that week. Now, how did she get an application at the end of the week? It should not take me acting a donkey to do right by my folks. But if you want to see a donkey, he haul, I'll give him to you. He coming, I'll ride in, I will ride in. 2 weeks later, I had the same thing happen to another widow. She lost the love of her life. She had been to City Hall 3 times, and they still wouldn't do right by her. I said, I tell you what, I'll meet you down there. She said, would you do that? I said, yeah, I get off of work at 6 o'clock. Let me go home and take a shower. I'll meet you down there at 9 o'clock. Because I worked 12 hours the night before. But she's wondering if she's going to lose her house. We went in there, and I said, hey, I need y'all to fill out this application. She also needs the life insurance policy. She was worried about her meter running dry. I said, Mary, I'll go put the money in there. And we did, and I came back. And she said, well, Dexter, when we leave, I got to tell you something. I said, okay. We got everything squared away. Everything's filled out. She said, well, you know the walls are kind of thin up there. I said, yeah. And they were saying that, well, why we got to do that? I heard them talking how to do it. Why we got to do all this? Why can't she just wait like everybody else? And somebody said, hey, you know who out there with her, right? That's Dexter Cunningham. You don't want the smoke he gonna bring. Let's go ahead and give this woman what she needs. She said, Dexter, I hope they pay you well for your job. I said, no, I don't get paid for this.
Yeah, come on.
Ain't no pay. This is what look, I don't even want any acknowledgement or praise to tell the truth about it. That don't mean nothing to me.
That's right.
God has blessed me greatly. I got a duty to help somebody who needs some help.
That's right.
And look, if you pat me on the back, it's fine. If you just nod your head, that's okay with me. That means nothing to me. And it's been told that I wanted to be the mayor. Man, I want to help these retirees. That's what I want. I just want you to do your job. Because I did it to you at the end of the day. Even though I don't get paid for what I do, well, I'm going to do mine.
That's right.
I'm going to do and I'm going to have receipts and documents with it. I don't speak from a place of emotion or my opinion. Now, I gave you my opinion on the stuff that I said. Now, when it comes to these pension issues, I speak on the place of facts and not fiction. I have spoken at pension conferences all over this country. I am the only City of Birmingham employee or representative who has attended Harvard Law School for advanced trustee studies. I don't say that to be bragging now. That's not. I'm just trying to let you know, when I speak on it, I know what I'm talking about. And it's not from a place of arrogance or hubris, but it's from a place of service.
You just said something. You know what? I'm so glad I'm sitting here. Now we know the real reason why they can't recruit. We know the real reason now. And thank you for telling. So the problem that we now have to address is the fact that if we know we have the infrastructure and we have the nonprofit, the foundation that I just spoke about. So that's not the issue. The issue is leadership. And so if the issue is leadership that look like me and you, that's hurting the people that is here, then that means that we need to do what? Adjust leadership. So you're telling me that administration, counselors, I don't care, I call them out because I have family that's here. You sit and you sat with these same people that got millions upon millions of dollars that you can easily say, hey, don't get nothing in my campaign. Get what I need you to do. Take that money, take that down. Go throw it right on over there for them good people over there. And guess what you can run on? Not only did I give my employees and my retirees some nice extra cuff, I also got it set up to where, well, guess what? I made a deal with the boys that for the next 5 years, next 4 years by my office, add an extra $2-3 million in there. But right now, we sit up here having a whole conversation about something that can be easily fixed. And then you also sit up here telling me that we have people that are currently working for the city that are complaining about something that they have been paid to do. Oh, absolutely not.
Once again, I don't, this is not based on, I don't have a personal axe to grind or agenda with anybody. I just want to see my people done right. And in fact, I'm not going to accept anything less. I'm not. I'm just not. And if Phyllis has known me for years and D'Angelo has known me for a little while, look, if we can get it fixed and somebody else can take the credit for it, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. But what you're not going to do, you're not going to play in my face and treat my people any kind of way and think I'm not going to clap back. Once again, not literally to harm anybody, but just use the facts that are in place. Right now, we have even, there are a lot of progressive things that are taking place with the pension board and trying to move it in the right direction. Working for the city of Birmingham should be the easiest recruitment tool to be the word police, fire, or anything else. But we've got to keep the people informed. Most people are not informed. I can tell you this. I had deputy chiefs and captains who retired from the city of Birmingham, and they had no idea when they was going to get their money, how they was going to get figured out, or anything else. They had no idea. They had no idea. We have what they call a 457B plans, which is like a deferred comp. They take pre-tax dollars, you direct that money to be invested by the managers of that, and then that's a supplement to even your pension. Right. Because what a lot of people don't know, police and firemen don't pay into Social Security now. We don't get no Social Security unless we work a job. And I know Social Security might be on its last legs, but you know, with some years that I worked before I became a police officer, that I paid the Social Security. I pay the Social Security presently. But if you do 30 years in the city of Birmingham and you never pay the Social Security, you ain't gonna get a dime. All you're gonna have is your pension. We have got to do right by the people who presently serve, and especially right by those who have previously served. You know, it's just not right, especially when you got a $500 million budget and you tell me you couldn't find $18 million for these folks to give them a measly $400 increase. $400. $400 a month. I don't understand that. And yeah, and it was just supposed to be for the year. So now, presently what I'm doing, I do have some colleagues at different parts of the country, trustees, and I found a plan out in Texas that could potentially allow us to give a 13th check to retirees. And it has something to do with how we invest our money. And we have some smart money managers, and we have some really good people who serve on the board. We do. We do.
13 check, what that mean?
So basically how it works with Sheila, if the system generates enough revenue, so presently we project our system to generate at least 8% in returns. Let's say the system generates 11. They give you 11%, so we met our benchmark of 8% returns, but we actually made 10 or 11. Because we generated more money, we should be in a situation where we could give every retiree a 13th check because, retirees get paid once a month. So we should be in a situation where at the end of the year, we can give them a 13th check.
So how old you have to be in order to retire from the city?
So we don't have a rule of 85. So let's say if you start as a policeman at 19 years of age and you do 20 years, at 39 you can start getting 50% of your salary. 10 years later, because like I said, that law was changed a couple of years ago, you'll get the maximum benefit of 67 and a third. So now when I was hired on back in 1991, March 25th, 1991, when I started Birmingham Police Department, it was actually a 25-year retirement. But in I hired in 91, probably around 96, 97, there was a law passed that the FOP pushed down in Montgomery to roll us back to a 20-year retirement. So now, almost 15% of an active police officer's salary goes towards pension.
Because it was 5 years at one time. I know when I was working there.
It was 5.
It was 5 years.
So as far as the vesting time, it's 10 now.
It went from 5 to 10.
It's 10 years vested. So if you did, let's say you got hired in the city of Birmingham
In 2013.
in 2013, and you did 2013 to 2018, you did 5 years and you paid into the system, then you would be eligible for a pension based on your years of service. Now it ain't gonna be it wouldn't be the same amount of money as somebody who has served 25 or 30 years, right, but it would be something. It would be something. So in Birmingham, if you serve, if you're hired, you do 10 years. If you can do 10 years and your age of 60, you can get a pension. Now, of course, it's going to be based on your years of service.
Okay. I got it. Okay. And you would get something at 13, you said a month 13, you would get some of that too?
If I can get 5 votes on the board to get that passed. Now I'm working on that. I probably shouldn't have been diarrhea in the mouth and said it. But I don't care. This is on social media and you said it. I'm going to say it. Please mind you, everything that I've spoken is based in fact and truth. If you ask for the pension board minutes, I can show you the minutes because I make sure no minutes get approved. If I'm at the meeting, it's going to say everything that I said is going to be on there. And everything that anybody else has said, I will not pass a minutes unless it's accurate. So everything I say is based in fact. So hopefully I will have 5 members. It's a 9-member board. Hopefully I'll have 5 members that will be willing to make this move. And this way, we don't have to ask or beg the city to do what it should be doing to do right by people anyway. It's amazing that you put people first. I just wonder what people first it is. They don't work in the city of Birmingham anyway. But I think that if I can get 5 votes to get that done, we can get it done. And then that's less burden on the city. I'm not trying to compromise the city. I know that's a difficult job and there are challenges involved. But just this last thing I'm gonna leave you with, $591 million. And then you couldn't have these 3,000 retirees who having to choose between getting their medicine and buying dog food to eat for a measly punk stanky $400. Ain't that right about that?
All right. Thank you. We are way over our time, and this, I told Jason we were gonna suspend the rule. But if we can take 5 more minutes to close out, that's all we do. All I wanna say is that we developed an agenda. The agenda is our agenda.
That's right.
I wanna keep saying that we're not putting this to candidates, to ask candidates, will you do that for us? What we're doing is, if we like the things on our agenda, these are things that we're committing ourselves to work toward. There's a number of things on the agenda we didn't get a chance to talk about. I'm just gonna brush over them, and next time we have this discussion, it might be something that we had to spend the rest of this year and next year and maybe next 3 years talking about and working on. But one of the things that we have on our agenda is annexation. We feel that the city of Birmingham should look into annexing areas outside surrounding cities for growth and economic development. I do not believe that Birmingham is number 4 city in the state of Alabama. I'm gonna tell you why I don't believe it, and I said it publicly a number of times, is that those numbers we going by was doing a census that was conducted during the pandemic. Tuscaloosa filed a complaint about their numbers. Why? Because all of the students down there in Alabama when they stand down there on campus, they get counted into the population. They were gone home. Not only did that happen here in Birmingham, but also that was the first administration of President Trump. He cut it short. Number 3 is the fact that I ain't seen nobody taking no census since I was a little boy. We supposed to go online and do it. Y'all know we ain't doing that. Y'all know our culture is one where we don't want nobody to know our business. We had to have a concentrated effort. I want to say Sheila has been very big involved in this in the county. She's been the only person over there to the county that I know has been pushing it. But we got to, as a community, go out and make sure our people are signed up. There's no way that I can believe that Huntsville is bigger than Birmingham when Jefferson County is the engine of the state and Birmingham is the engine of Jefferson County. But we do have other areas that we can benefit by, getting with them and bringing them into Birmingham. We have to convince them.
It's not that simple though, William. The citizens have to vote on that.
Yeah, they had to vote on it, so it's a democracy.
And every time I bring
we gotta sell it to them.
You're gonna have to sell it, and you're gonna have to show where they're going to get more benefits by coming into the city of Birmingham.
Okay.
Just like Roosevelt City and Brownsville. Lipscomb refused to go even off of a conversation that I had, and Brighton didn't even want to take on the conversation. So even with the census, they only gave me $5,000 to cover county in Jefferson County. So it was not financially invested. Even the community foundation could have stepped in and did something. They only gave me, I think $2,000 or $3,000. So it's foundations that could invest in the census that are not doing it for because they don't want us county. Right. And then you got to look at your own household. Mm-hmm. It's nothing wrong, even though you don't have custody of your child, of your daughter's children, they still need to be counted within your household. But I don't want them to take the kids, and I don't want the responsibility. That ain't got nothing to do with the census of you putting them down on the census of being located at your home. And you don't want public house. I want public house, and they know that I got them saying that they don't check that, they don't check your tickets. It's so many myths out here, not only with census, with everything else, it's nothing but myths. Until you get down and sit down and like Dexter said, look at those numbers, you would be totally shocked on the things that we have been thinking that have been absolutely dead wrong. And I was one of the ones that was thinking it. I can admit that I was wrong on a lot of this stuff, but how many people are willing to admit when they are wrong?
And that's something that we have to have a campaign to work on if this is our agenda. We got to start preparing before, when is the next 2030?
I started on the census in January.
Right.
And we started nationally, so we are trying to bring in national people to help us financially and experts and to train people here on how to direct, and we doing direct counting.
Right.
We ain't going through no
Estimates.
absolute. We going from face to face, door to door.
Right.
And we gonna count everybody that's in your household, and even if they are on hospice, those people are supposed to be counted. That's how you get your funding.
Right, and I want to say that Birmingham got 99 neighborhoods. I know you said earlier that you knew everybody on your block. Why shouldn't we take on the responsibility of knowing everybody in our neighborhood? Every neighborhood should be assigned with that task. I had some other ideas about neighborhood organizations, but the neighborhood organizations are dying out, but we got to get them reinvigorated. They should survey and audit the entire neighborhood, know who stay in every house.
And I have a paper right here that I got of the duties of a county commissioner.
Mm-hmm.
Things that y'all think we supposed to do, you're dead wrong. We don't supposed to do them. It's dead wrong. We don't even have capabilities of doing it. But people actually think that we supposed to do that. Pave unincorporated roads that is not to belong to the county, they belong to ALDOT. People ain't thinking about that. They say, well, I'm unincorporated, but it's not a county road. That's an ALDOT road. Right.
Okay, so, go ahead.
Add one thing.
Miss.
This is my first meeting that I ever came to. My husband is here speaking.
Shame on him.
No, we take care of my father, so I can't get out.
Okay.
But my one thing I want to say is you all are so knowledgeable. And I was thinking, because I have an autistic son, and we're responsible for him knowing what he's doing. And I think the education of the community, stuff like this, they need to know. Because they don't know, and we're ignorant to how things work. So if we get that out there, it'll make everything move faster.
Right. And that's what we want to do. We appreciate that. So another thing that we definitely a part of our agenda is full employment for city workers, because full employment for city workers, because what I'm hearing, and I mentioned this, is that the street and sanitation department, public works is called now, it used to be the biggest department in the city, according to this, and that it was over 3,000 some employees, but now I've heard that it's 1,500. We get back into, we don't know the real numbers. When they get real low, they get spooky. Somebody said, one of the candidates might have said it was 500, but anyway, I'm gonna go with Dexter said it was 1,500. So that's 1,500 jobs that should be in our community. That should be in Hensley. You know, street and sanitation, then our people would be working, then we can have stores in our community, we can have businesses, we can have services. So I think that, I don't understand why the city has this unemployment. We have to push to make sure that we got full employment in the city. We in favor of the development of Birmingham Port, particularly, I live in Sherman Heights. I was born and raised in Sherman Heights. I live in the house that I was born in. It was my grandfather's house, and my mom and my dad had lived in there. And then my dad went down the street and built a brick house. I'm involved in some stuff in court, probate court in my family. And I went and looked up, I couldn't find no information on what my dad owed any money. He gave me a chill when I talk about this. My dad stayed with my granddad and paid him rent. Then he went up the street and built his damn house, then borrowed a penny on it. I can't find no mortgage on that house. He didn't owe a dime on it. My uncle helped him build it. That's what I'm talking about. We done got away from that. We done got into, we got some people who look like us on the city council, on the county commission. They should be doing this, that, and other. We done got away from what my dad and my uncle and them did.
That's right.
They built their own houses. Yep. I mean, brick by brick. Whatever they got paid, they go buy some bricks and build it. And when I left that house and moved up and grew up in my home house, and now my mama eventually turned it over to me and my wife. I've been adding to that house. It probably was built in 1920 or 30. I'm still adding on to it. But the only reason I got anything owed on it, I could keep myself in the book because I went and borrowed some money on it. Well, with $10,000 equity loan. But I was just saying that we gotta get back to what we were doing. We talked about developing the port runs, could run right up there to, on the other side of Sherman Heights where I live is the old Ensley Works. That's a train system that runs into every yard in the country. I was told the only other place that does that is Pittsburgh. But we got a port down there, all we gotta do is bring this stuff up into the port, put it on the train, and we can take it anywhere in the country. So we need to develop that. We didn't want no rubber stamps on the council, community first. I've learned from these forums that if we have a rubber stamp council that believe that we are a team, and one guy told me, he's a good guy and I want to keep him, Joe May. He said he was talking about somebody that worked with the mayor and they told him, said, you don't interfere in the mayor's interest. You can't interfere in the mayor's interest. And then I cussed. Because I said, the mayor ain't got no effing interest outside of the people. I mean, you know, the corporate community you got to do things for them. But you can't sit up there and vote against the people you ask them to vote for you because the mayor got an interest to supply the corporate community. He got to take care of the west side of town, the north side of town, the east side of town, and the south side of town. That's his only interest, is to take care of the city. So these are the things that we were looking at. We want to look at developing vocational skill training centers. We got a lot of schools that are not in use now. These schools could be turned into vocational centers because my son has been in the tax business for 20 or 30 years. I used to work with him when I was in school. And I had some of my Muslim brothers I had one Muslim brother who was an electrician. He came to me for me to do his taxes. He had 1099, and that was for $70,000. That was one job. So I'm saying that we've been saying to our children, go to college and get an education. But my brother he wasn't reporting all them $200, $300 checks he was getting for doing work for people. He was reporting that $10.99 that was for $70,000. We got to get back to that. All of these schools around here that's empty, they could be community vocational training centers. We could train people how to do mechanic. Right. My mechanic, Ron Hatcher, he talks about in Lawson State, they train people to work with these new car systems. That's computerized work. In the day, my daddy did all the work for everything. He built the house, he worked on the car, he did the plumbing. We ain't got no men like that. I ain't the man my daddy was. So we need to get our people trained so that they know how to work on these new systems. We got to fight to protect the city's assets from state takeover. That got to be a real fight. There can't be no punked out. I'm afraid that this waterworks suit that the city got, I'm afraid that after the 26th, that might go away.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we tried, y'all. And it can't go away. I'm saying, my grandson, I talked about him earlier, he in Japan. He just had in November my youngest great-grandchild, Miles. Miles on his way to be raised in Japan. I get a chill every time I think about that. But I want to turn this fight over to Miles, and he was just born in November. Fighting them from taking our stuff. Because if we let them take the waterworks without a fight that lasts, the Jabbo dead, I'm dead, that guy Stone dead, and everybody dead. And Miles will be fighting their great-grandchildren to keep our stuff. If we don't do that, then we might as well pack up and catch the first thing smoking and get out of here. We want accountability of the discretionary funds. I don't know if it's true, and I ain't trying to start now. But I heard that a candidate who used to work for a city councilman said the city councilman got a discretionary fund of $100,000. The candidate used to work for that person. I don't know if it's true. So I'm qualifying it by saying that, but saying that they had $100,000, they gave a DJ $25,000. Now I found out later that the DJ did have a for-profit, but damn, you got 19 neighborhoods. And you gonna give a vote for your money to a DJ? I don't know if that's true, but I know we need accountability of discretionary funds. They need to be done so you can go to the internet and see what that money was spent on. They need to have it so we can click on the city page and see. We don't have to be giving nothing to somebody else to do that for us. The Mayor Council Act should be amended because it's taking away our power when folks think that, well, ain't nothing we can do. That this is the bill. We got to ask for the mayor for his permission to change what he presents to us. Don't effing vote for it. You have our support. Ain't nothing gonna stop. You just had to use the budget from the year before. Don't vote for it if the mayor won't negotiate with you to do something for the people that you are asking to vote for you. If you can't do nothing for Hensley, Press City, and Sherman Heights, places like that, then don't vote for that budget if he's not willing to negotiate with you. And the last thing is, the city, I was talking about this, the city should implement a rehab program. I'm gonna end on that note. Cause I know that, Ms. Pat, low income housing can go as high as $300,000. But it's people out here ain't got nowhere to stay. I ain't just talking about the homeless, I'm talking about people who getting a little bit of money. People who getting $1,000 of Social Security ain't got no place to stay. And there's houses in our community that don't need to be torn down. They might not be the $300,000 house, but fix up the house and put a person in there and work with them so we put them houses back on the tax roll, but they got somewhere to stay. I think the city need to look into that. So, that's all. One thing I skipped was we in favor of the city working with taking Birmingham Southern and trying to help it become a HBCU because it's in the black community. And I don't know why we just sit up here acting like we ain't got nothing to do with that. That's 200 acres of land. When Birmingham Southern was there, they had like 1,000 students and 150 employees. That's money the city loses. 1,000 students that Birmingham Southern had. If we make an HBCU, they'll have way more than 1,000. So we want to push that. So those are all of the things on the agenda. I know we kind of wore y'all out a little bit today. I want to say we miss our Sheila Smoot to keep us in line. Everybody's just going over, but thank you for coming out. Has anybody got any question or comment on some of the last things I talked about? If not, then thank y'all for coming out and thank you for donating your time to us. We want to thank the streaming audience. If you're looking at it on streaming, and some things we got to do. I got to talk to D'Angelo about the what you call it, jiu-jitsu? Verbal jiu-jitsu. We need to be teaching that in our community. I got to get with you to find out what in the hell is verbal jiu-jitsu. But we need to teach it to our young people so that they don't think every conflict needs to end in what do they call it, a switch. I put it, one guy put it on there, I put this switch on around her, I don't care. His mama turned him in. His mama took him down there and turned him in. She didn't want that smoke. No. So thank y'all for coming out, and hopefully, I want to especially thank Ms. Hall because she made the day because she said, this is the information our people need. Now, if we was having a party in here, we had to beat y'all out. You have a line, and we would give away cheese, we'd have a line outside. But the information that's needed for us to improve our situation, that ain't so important to us. And that's just the job we've been given. So thank y'all. I want to thank Scott Media. First I want to thank Phyllis, and I want to thank Marcia, because like I said, I'm gonna reiterate this before I close. I told Marcia, them niggas ain't gonna do nothing but lie. We talk like that, man. If you want us now, that we can tell Bob Freeman. You want us now, you ain't white. You can tell Bob Freeman that you ain't white. Yeah, so. But she stayed on me, and this is a good thing we do. So, thank you all. All right.